Hey everyone, it's Dr. Fletcher, and let's talk about compliance. Now, I promise I won't give you a formal lecture in all things compliance. Specifically, today I want to talk about laboratory stewardship and how it relates to laboratory compliance. I'm sure most of you are aware that laboratories have a compliance officer and typically have a laboratory compliance committee that meets usually once a month, sometimes every other month or once a quarter. But in any case, you have a committee that meets, and that committee most of the time is looking at things like, did requisitions have the correct diagnoses codes, billing codes? Were there kickback issues, pricing issues, all these things? But that committee is actually also responsible for laboratory stewardship. How so? Well, the reason that committee is responsible for laboratory stewardship is because the Office of Inspector General, the OIG, says so. The OIG is kind of like the police department for CMS, and they have their own rules saying what compliance committees should do. Let's pull up those rules. I'm going to pull up a document, and by the way, I'll post a link to this document on my website right by the link for this video. I'm going to pull it up, and basically, what this is the Federal Register from 1998. Okay, that's 25 years old. Why are we looking at an old document? The answer is because this document, although it's at least 25 years old, it's the most recent OIG statement that we're still held accountable for today. The Federal Register, by the way, is like the daily newspaper of the federal government. This is where they post all their notices. So, in any case, here we are, the Federal Register, and if you scroll to the bottom of this particular edition, you can see this thing called OIG, Compliance Program Guidance for Clinical Laboratories. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can see it a little more easily. Now, this document, as you would expect, talks about a lot of different compliance issues. Not all of them relate to laboratory stewardship, so I'm not going to dwell on the whole thing. But as you start reading through this, you start to get a sense of laboratory stewardship initiatives. And specifically, as I was reading through this, I noticed this paragraph. Laboratories should take all reasonable steps to ensure that it is not submitting claims for services that are not covered, reasonable, and necessary. I remember looking through some reports about how many times we were ordering RBC folate, and we all know that that's the wrong test. People really wanted serum folate, but regardless, we were billing Medicare for them. I was like, "Oh, this could be a compliance issue. I think we're ordering tests that might not be medically necessary." In any case, so what else does OIG say about that? Well, it says that laboratories should take several steps to make sure this doesn't happen. We'll keep scrolling down through this document all the way down to paragraph E, test utilization monitoring. The OIG believes that laboratories can and should take steps to ensure appropriate billing of lab tests. Huh, this is starting to sound like laboratory stewardship. When it comes back up to the top of the next column, you can basically see that they say that the laboratory, if you discover, has contributed to knowingly billing for unnecessary tests, they need to do something about it. They're supposed to notify physicians. Laboratory stewardship. We noticed that something's being misordered. Maybe we need to notify the physicians based off what the OIG is telling us. Well, of course. There's different ways you can monitor test utilization. They say that, yeah, you can hire a consultant to analyze your test mixes for you. However, you could also do it yourself. And they state that, they suggest that if a particular test volume grows more than 10% in any given year, the laboratory needs to investigate why. So basically, you need to look at your test menu and see what's going up, what's going down. If it's gone up more than 10%, you need to know why. The OIG is reasonable. They say, we understand test volumes could go up. Maybe you've acquired a new laboratory facility right here, or maybe it was COVID-19 and all of a sudden everybody had to get respiratory viral testing. There's always legitimate reasons for increases in volume. However, if the laboratory determines that the increase in utilization was caused by misunderstanding or ignorance by the ordering physicians, they have to do something about it. Ouch. They don't mince words, do they? So if you have physicians who are unknowingly ordering the wrong test, that's a compliance issue. Laboratory stewardship just found a home. Compliance. What else does OIG say about laboratory stewardship other than taking issues to the committee about, suspected physicians misordering tests? They also have something to say about order sets. Order sets. I like to say that laboratory, we are the victims of order sets. Most of the time we don't know about them until all of a sudden you see sed rates went through the roof. And I'm making that up, but then again, I'm not really. How many times have you seen an order set include things like sed rates, and all of a sudden you're doing 10 times more sed rates than ever before? And it's because those order sets were never brought to us. We never had an opportunity to review them. Back in 1998, this was before the age of the EMR, order sets were called standing orders because, this is back in the paper world. Fast forward, standing orders are now order sets. And you could say, Dr. Fletcher, you're making that up. The words are different. Well, there's actually been recent settlements against laboratories and healthcare systems saying that, you know what, from a compliance perspective, you never reviewed your order sets. OIG tends to look at standing orders and order sets as the same thing in principle. And so it says that the compliance committee is responsible for reviewing order sets because if not, they can lead to abusive ordering practices. And that's something we all know. And so basically, the compliance program needs to periodically monitor these standing orders or order sets for their appropriateness. And so, what do you do when you're in a situation when all of a sudden, your SED rates or whatever the test is goes through the roof, and somebody says, "Guys, I think we got a new order set." Rather than doing nothing and just you just being the victim of the order set, take it to your compliance committee. It's a laboratory stewardship issue, and again, OIG clearly spells this out. So, in any case, that's a little bit about the OIG compliance guidelines for laboratory and how you can start to embed some laboratory stewardship initiatives straight into your compliance department. Let me know how that works for you. If you find this useful, leave me a post or a comment or drop me an email. Again, I appreciate your time and good luck with all of your laboratory stewardship initiatives.